Good evening. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we want to welcome everybody here tonight. Appreciate you being here and joining us tonight. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, I now call this meeting to order of the Mesquite Independent School District Board of Trustees on this Monday, September the 9th, 2024 at 6 p.m. I also confirm that there's a quorum of board members present and that this meeting was posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. I want to thank you again for attending. We will now proceed on our agenda. The board will now meet in closed session under the Texas Open Meetings Act to discuss or consult on items under Texas Government Code Section 551.71 in consultation with our board's attorney and Section 551.04 personnel. No action will be taken in the closed session. We will return as soon as we're finished.
Yeah.
The Board of Trustees of Mesquite ISD will reconvene from closed session to open meetings at 6:22. We will now have invocation by the Reverend Jones Dalton, pastor of First Presbyterian Church. Following him will be the posting of the colors by the JROTC cadets from Mesquite High School, and then the pledges of allegiance from the JOC Commander Cadet First Lieutenant Joseph Munoz from Mesquite High School, and their sponsor is First Sergeant Robert Hubert. You are all invited to join in the invocation and pledges if you wish. Please stand.
Good evening, and let us pray. Almighty, gracious, and loving God, I pray for those gathered here in leadership as they steward the minds and hearts of thousands of your children. I pray for knowledge and discernment and wisdom, for courage and encouragement. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen. Amen.
Ready, down. Ready, up. Present, arm.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the Texas Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. And now for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Order. Arms. Right. Face. Forward. March.
Go ahead. You can sit. Again, thanks to Mesquite High School cadets for posting the colors tonight and for the pledges. We really appreciate that. Next on our agenda is the Team of 8 moment. Any members up here have anything they'd like to add? Mr. Rose?
Real quick, just school started and we're off to weekly things, and one of the things that I've had the pleasure of participating with some of our students in our athletics program is a mentorship with some of the football players, and it's just comforting to see the kids, because a lot of times in the media, our kids, especially the younger ones, will get a bad reputation and different things. These kids are some solid kids. We have good kids in our district. And we get to, every morning on game days, we eat breakfast with them, talk about life, what's going on in school. And it's just been really enjoyable. And there's a lot of mentor programs out there. If you're interested in getting involved with some of our students under that program, then reach out to somebody at the school and they'll get you in the right direction. But it's worthwhile time to spend with some of our students.
One thing, well, I have a couple of things, but the first one is, as you know, we participate with a lot of organizations here in Mesquite, a lot of activities that personally we participate, but the school district is very active with the city, with the chamber and other organizations. And this Saturday, we had the pleasure of receiving a partnership award from the Keep Mesquite Beautiful Association that really recognized this. So I have that award here. I want to present it to Dr. Rivera. It goes to show the things that we do, and I like it when we're appreciated, because our kids participate heavily with them, and they do a lot of things that they're not always recognized, and they should be. The other thing I have is a report. I went this summer to the advocacy, the trustee advocacy summit that we had with Raise Your Hands Texas. And I wanted to read something that I wrote regarding that whole summit, everything that we went through during that 4-day period. But it's a statewide summit that was held in August, and the topic was advocacy. Several board members and administrators attended this 2-part session. That one was an effort to learn how to build community-based advocacy systems in your school districts. And the second part was to teach us how to leverage that community-based advocacy to identify and inspire voter engagement. We started by talking about advocacy cycles in our biannual legislative sessions that we attend. As you know, we have partnered with our Chamber of Commerce, teachers associations, current and retired teachers, PTA, and the City of Mesquite. These partnerships are instrumental in our success when we approach our Austin lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. Education is a bipartisan topic and not exclusive to partisan politics. We are talking about the future of our children's educational success. We also practice techniques such as power mapping and networking, which, as a matter of fact, in the documents I put in that folder for you, you have an example of the power mapping. These are tools that we have in our arsenal, but we don't always perform effectively. So we have to continue learning about those. Power mapping helps us understand how the private, public, and civic sectors, as well as the media, affect our daily operations. This is a dynamic and ongoing process that should be revisited periodically. We closed the first session with presentations of a media panel with Marie Leonard, with his content director from Community Impact, Becky Fogel of the Education, an education reporter from KUT FM in Austin, an NPR station, and Nick Garcia, who's the region editor of the Texas Tribune. The panel was moderated, of course, by Raise Your Hand Texas, by Ann Lasagne. We spoke about building plans and our electoral engagement with the community. This is a topic that I have briefly discussed with our president, so we can create a strong plan to engage and help our Mesquite community to understand where we are. Our last day was dedicated to learning the process legislators follow to create, present, and pass a bill. It was an interactive exercise where staff plays the role of Austin House leadership, and we were the legislators trying to pass 5 different bills to be heard and forwarded to the House floor. As we spoke to the House clerk, the author of the bill, the chair of the House Education Committee, and the members of that committee, we learned how to have these conversations and find friendly votes and even negotiate with those not so friendly votes. That happens. So the entire summit was engaging, educational, and positive. I also aligned with the Mesquite, it also aligns with the Mesquite Basic core values of people first, cultivation, culture, commitment to the community, and continuous learning. This is a process that I believe should be a part of the development of every board member in this state. And I would really encourage the rest of the board members, if you have a chance, to go in the following years. I do want to thank the board for giving me this opportunity to represent you in Mesquite. So this was a great activity. Thank you.
Mr. Carville, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking that task on. I will say that this is the 89th legislature's coming up in January. It's going to be a critical year for public education. Dr. Feinglass is heading up the district legislative committee. There's going to be quite a few people on that. Several of the board members will serve on that. So we'll be gearing up, and we may be reaching out to all of you to help us advocate on behalf of our public schools here in Mesquite. We appreciate all the hard work you're putting in on this particular item itself. So board members, we're going to be busy next year. We're going to be going down to Austin with some folks and doing our part to advocate for our district and public education as a whole. Thank you, Mr. Carville. Dr. Rivera?
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item is actually, it's not for me to say, so I'm going to call Dr. Feinglass to introduce some guests, because I think you better hear it from some of our students.
I want to introduce Lola Paris and Melanie Calderon to you. These are 2 of our District Amazing Shake winners, and they also happen to both attend Camp Excel. And that is a new program that Lindsay Paris's team piloted this summer, so they're going to tell you about it.
Hi, my name is Melanie. I'm a 6th grader at AC Neal Middle School.
My name is Lola Paris, and I'm a 6th grader at Kimbrough Middle School.
This summer, Lola and I attended Camp Excel, which is a new summer STEAM camp offered by Mesquite ISD.
Here's a short video to give you a glimpse of what we do at Camp Excel.
Welcome to Camp Excel. Come check out what we've been doing. See you at Camp Excel next year.
As you can see, Camp Excel was so much fun.
There were so many interesting classes to choose from.
Melanie and I would like to share some of our personal thoughts from Camp Excel.
My favorite camp was fashion design because I got to make new friends and made new things. I wish I would have taken a cooking class because it sounded really cool and a fun thing to do. I would like to see this at Camp Excel next year. I would want to see an amazing shake class.
My favorite camp was the cooking class with Chef Katie because we got to learn how to be exemplary chefs. I wish I would have taken the pretzels and more class because I love to cook. I would like to see this camp at Camp Excel. I would like to see a communication building for people who are interested in public speaking.
Thank you for allowing us to share about our experience at Camp Excel this summer.
We know that Camp Excel will be even bigger and better next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, young ladies, and thank you for sharing your experience at Camp Excel with us today. We look forward to next year.
Thank you.
And Mr. President, the second one is a celebration. So Dallas College selects a distinguished alumni, and they have a reception on October the 29th to celebrate the distinguished alumni. And it makes me just so proud to say that this year's distinguished alumni is none other than Mr. Kevin Carbo. Thank you, sir. And so we will be there on the 29th, Chairman Mom, and celebrating his accomplishment. So well deserved, sir.
Thank
That's
you.
all I
I'm very
have.
proud of that. And I really firmly believe in what Eastville is doing and the Dallas County Community Colleges. So thanks.
Well, thank you, Dr. Rivera. Just a couple things. One, these two young ladies, I got to go visit the Camp Excel and the Shake. I will tell you, if you haven't ever been, I invite all the parents to go see the Shake, go see Camp Excel, get your kids involved. These kids did great. All of them were engaged, having fun. They were learning it, math, science, you name it. They were playing games that helped them learn more. Very proud of them and what they did. You guys did a great job up here today. Appreciate you sending the message to the rest of the district. And Mr. Carbo, again, congratulations on behalf of the board. We appreciate you. We're proud of you. With that, because we're talking about kids, I'm going to turn it over to Sabrina Smith to now talk and recognize, I believe next is the Apple Corps.
It is. We begin tonight's special recognition portion of the program with our prestigious Apple Corps program. Apple Corps is excited to introduce a new partnership this year with Clay Cooley Mesquite. And before we meet our September nominees, I'd like to invite Mesquite Education Foundation Executive Director Randy Llewellyn to come and tell us more about that partnership.
Young ladies would come do this presentation for me. Good evening, board. I'm Randy Llewellyn, Executive Director of the Mesquite ISD Education Foundation, and as you all know, we exist to make great ideas come to life on our campuses. We fund programs throughout the year that fall outside of the state budget. In addition to that, we love to be associated with things that recognize excellent educators, and we have had the privilege to add those types of things to our work in the last few years. For example, we are now tied forever to the Teacher of the Year program through the Dr. David Vroonland Endowment, which we're very proud of, and new now through a great partnership over a 3-year period with Clay Cooley Auto Group. We will be sponsoring or partnering with them to support the new Principal of the Year Award, and the reason I'm here tonight, the monthly Apple Corps Teacher Award. Through this partnership, the 2 monthly Apple Corps teachers will receive a $100 cash prize through this strategic partnership with Clay Cooley Auto Group. We're honored to be a part of it, to recognize these excellent teachers. I don't know if they knew that, but you will be getting a little cash, so that's nice. That's always nice. We are looking for strategic partners to help us advance the mission of Mesquite ISD, especially for Camp Excel. We'll be looking for a $100,000 sponsor for that. How does that sound? 100,000, Lindsay, is that good enough? So very excited to be a part of this great award, and congratulations, you guys. So.
Thank you. And with that, our first Apple Corps honoree for the 24-25 school year is Candy Polito of Smith Elementary School. Candy is a 4th grade bilingual teacher with 5 years of teaching experience right here in Mesquite ISD. Please turn your attention to the screens to learn more about Ms. Polito.
We are so happy that Ms. Polito is receiving the Apple Corps Award. I mean, when you think of a teacher that has been phenomenal, that has amazing work ethic, that loves her students, that goes above and beyond, we always think about Ms. Polito because she is that person. She's so selfless. She takes care of her students. She sacrifices so much, even outside her own personal pocket, to make sure that her students have an amazing experience here at Smith. And so we are really excited to celebrate her and welcome her into the Apple Corps.
I became a teacher because I believe education shapes not only minds, but only individuals as a human being. My purpose goes beyond academic growth. It is about nurturing my students' characters, teaching them good manners, and instilling a deep respect of themselves and others. I aim to boost their confidence and help them become a successful and productive individual.
Stuff here. It's 2 pieces. I'm going to read a resolution. It's my turn. A proclamation for tonight. Whereas the Mesquite Independent School District Board of Trustees seeks to honor outstanding classroom teachers who demonstrate leadership, innovation, and dedication to the students of Mesquite ISD, and whereas the Mesquite ISD Apple Corps consists of exceptional leaders nominated by their peers to receive the school district's highest recognition, therefore be it resolved that the board officially welcomes Candy Polito into the Mesquite ISD Apple Corps on the 9th day of September, 2024. Thank you very much for your service. You bet yours. You can make 2 trips.
Here you go. Good evening, everyone. As you know, Candy Polito is here. I am deeply honored and humbled to be standing here today as a recipient of the Apple Corps Award. First and foremost, I want to give my heartfelt thanks to God. I truly believe He has assigned me a beautiful mission on this earth to nurture, inspire, and guide young minds, and I am forever grateful for this calling. I really think this, truly. I would also like to thank my grandparents, mi mamá Coco, mi papá Felix, and mi mamá Celia, for shaping me into the person I am today. Their values and hard work and love have guided me through my life, and I wouldn't be here without their influence. To my daughters and sons, Dana, Melanie, Jacob, and JP, thank you for being such amazing individuals. You make my heart full, and your love makes our family a true blessing. You are a reason for striving to be better each and every day. I also owe so much gratitude to my co-workers who have become true friends. Carlos Garcia and Ana Almanza. They're back there somewhere. Together we have grown as educators, supporting one another through every challenge and victory. I couldn't have asked for better people to walk alongside me in this journey. To all my students, all of them, thank you for the valuable lessons that you taught me and for giving me hope for a brighter world. You inspire me daily and remind me that teaching is about fostering growth, kindness, and curiosity. You are the reason I love what I do. And I am proud of each of you for shaping the future world with me. I want to thank Mesquite ISD and BJ Smith Elementary, my principal, Ms. Bennett, Mr. Bright, I don't know if he's here, right there. For this recognition and for fostering my growth as educator through professional development. A special thanks to, I think I saw her, Special thanks to Alma Gutierrez for her unwavering support and guidance since the day one when I came to Mesquite, right there. To everyone who took the time to come over here. And lastly, but most importantly, I want to thank and dedicate this award to my husband, Santiago Vara. He's right there. Santiago, this is true. Your love, support, and encouragement have carried me through everything. You push me to be my best even when I don't like it. You always have my back, and you patiently endure all crazy ideas when I'm planning something new for my class. I could not do this without you, and I love you more than words can say. And for everybody now, teaching is a collective journey, and I encourage the community to join in building a better future for our students and the world. Together, we can make positive impact, one student, one lesson, one day at a time. All we need are ganas. Thank you.
Congratulations. Our second Apple Corps honoree this evening is Karina Aguilar from Seaborn Elementary. Karina is a kindergarten bilingual teacher with 12 years of experience, all in Mesquite ISD. Let's take a look at what makes Miss Aguilera an Apple Corps teacher.
Miss Aguilar is an outstanding teacher and leader on our campus. She is so genuine in everything that she does. You can definitely see the passion she has when you go into her classroom every day. She really has made an impact beyond her classroom as she leads family engagement events on our campus. We are so honored to have her as part of our campus, and congratulations to you, Ms. Aguilar, on this Apple Corps nomination.
I grew up in Mesquite and attended McWhorter, Wilkinson, and graduated West Mesquite High School. I always had teachers who always inspired me to do more. This is my 12th year teaching, and I have taught at Floyd and Seaborn Elementary. I love teaching my kindergarten students. Everyone has a story, and I love that I'm able to be a small part of their story. My students and families know they can count on me because they always are going to be part of my family. I don't see myself doing anything else. I love teaching, and my students understand that they are heard, seen, and loved every day in the classroom. I love to inspire and give them the tools that they need to be long life learners.
Thank you for coming back to Mesquite and teaching Mesquite. Proclamation. Whereas the Mesquite Independent School District Board of Trustees seeks to honor outstanding classroom teachers who demonstrate leadership and innovation and dedication to the students of the Mesquite ISD. And whereas the Mesquite ISD Apple Corps consists of exceptional teachers nominated by their peers to receive the school district's highest recognition, therefore be it resolved that the board officially welcomes Karina Aguilar into the Mesquite ISD Apple Corps on the 9th day of September 2024. Thank you so much. I appreciate you very, very much.
Good evening. First and foremost, I would like to thank MISD for giving me my education and allowing me to be part of this wonderful district. I graduated from the West Side, and I have worked for the best side of Mesquite ISD. Thank you, members of the board, and Dr. Rivera, for everything you do for the district. Thank you to my Seaborn family for nominating me for this special recognition. I would like to also thank Dr. Rocio Almanza and Ashley Cook, which Rocio is actually right here. And she has been an amazing mentor and a close friend to me at Seaborn. I also want to thank my former and current students. Because of them, I go above and beyond every day, and I know that I am where I'm supposed to be. I would like to thank Dr. Kim Broadway for hiring me fresh out of high school as a teacher assistant, and when I finished my teaching degree, she moved me to my first classroom teaching first grade at Floyd Elementary. Thank you, Ms. Kern, for always believing in me and pushing me out of my comfort zone. I would also like to say thank you to my family. Thank you, Elena, who is a sophomore at Vanguard High School, for all the evenings we have had laminating and cutting papers to make sure I was prepared for class. And there she is. Thank you, Junior, who is in 8th grade at Fraser Middle School, for always asking me how my day has been after work. He is always looking out for my well-being. Thank you. Thank you, Adrian, who is in kindergarten with Dr. Almanza at Seaburn, for always giving the best hugs and keeping me on my toes. Oh, yeah. And a big thank you to my husband, Juan, for supporting my career from the beginning, which many times I know can get expensive, but he supports me, and I love you so much. I work for the most amazing district that has incredible leaders. Thank you for this honor. I will always be grateful.
Congratulations, Ms. Aguilar.
Before we start on the next one, Sabrina, first off, Ms. Pulido, could you have your family stand so that we can recognize them for all the support they've given you all these years? And the same for the Smith Elementary School folks that are here today.
I'm sorry?
Folks from your school, from Smith Elementary?
School, I really didn't invite.
Oh, you didn't?
My co-workers at the assistant principal, Mr. Ray, is so cool. You should go right next to school. Minister Garcia and Almanza, where are you going?
Thank you all. Let's. Ms. Aguilar, your family, please. They can wave if they're already standing. We want to thank you guys. Appreciate you. And the staff at Seaburn. Thank you. We're going to come down and continue, but if you'll stay with us, we got some students recognized after the para. Then we're going to have a moving item up on the agenda. If you'll give us a few minutes, we want to take that action. Then we're going to have a break so that you can go out and visit with the rest of your family and friends.
All right. Each month we recognize one of our outstanding paraprofessionals with the Star Para Award. This year, we're excited to have First Financial Group of America partnering with us to provide each Star Para recipient a $50 gift card. We are grateful to have a representative from FFGA here tonight, and if you would please join Mosquito ISD's Family Engagement Coordinator Lindsay Paris with our September Star Para, Maria Carrizales, at the podium. I believe Lindsay is going to tell us about what makes Ms. Carrizales so special.
Making a long walk.
I am honored to share about Ms. Carrizales tonight as she receives the Star Para Award. Ms. Carrizales has been at Hodges Elementary for 25 years and has helped lead Lena Start on her campus since the fall of 2022. She has been instrumental to the success of this program on her campus, and I truly mean that. Ms. Carrizales not only recruits families and prepares to lead the weekly program, but she also builds long-term relationships with the families that participate and encourages them to be the best versions of themselves to help their child be successful. Her campus said that Ms. Carrizales interacts with all staff, students, and families with consistent respect, grace, and care. Hodges Elementary consistently sees high participation and outstanding results in their Lena Start groups, and I believe that is due to it being led by a team who truly believes in the importance of the program. We are so grateful to have Ms. Carzales on the Lena Start team at Hodges, and it is an absolute honor to recognize her this evening. Congratulations. Then you'll go right over and take a picture.
All right, next up, we want to recognize 5 MISD teachers who have been promoted to the highest level of the ETIP program. That's called District Scholar. Here to tell us more about it is ETIP program and introduce our newest scholars is the ETIP coordinator, Liz Rimler.
Good evening. The MISD Excellence in Teaching Incentive Program aims to support teachers in reaching their professional goals while continuing to serve in the classroom. And it's my great pleasure to introduce the newest district ETIP scholars. These ETIP scholars have either completed their doctorate or national board certification. Each of them will be working on a district level project this year, as well as their classroom goals and campus project. They put countless hours and energy into completing these programs, and we are excited to celebrate them this evening. As I announce each of them, I'm going to ask that they come up for a group picture. First, we have David Smith, English teacher at Horn High School, National Board Teacher Certification. Lacey Brown, Assistant Band Director at West Mesquite High School, National Board Teacher Certification. Unfortunately, she's unable to be here with us this evening, but we'd like to applaud her efforts. Vicki Sands Ramirez, 4th grade bilingual teacher at Galloway Elementary, National Board Teacher Certification. Dr. Rudy McKay, special education teacher at Woolley Middle School, doctorate conferred. And Dr. Rocio Almanza, kindergarten bilingual teacher at Sebring Elementary, doctorate conferred.
And now let's recognize some students. First, we have some very talented CTE students who've placed at recent competitions from West Mesquite High School. We have Allison Ortiz, 3rd place in exploring non-core subject teaching careers at the Educators Rising National Competition. Next up, we have from West Mesquite High School, Jimena Mata, blue ribbon at Educators Rising Competition. And next we have Aaliyah Simpson from West Mesquite High School, top 10 in Educators Rising. Next up, we have Josie Galizia, also from West Mesquite, top 10 in Educators Rising. Okay, and their sponsor, Shelby McKinney, for West Mesquite High School CTE. Okay. Next up, we have Excellence in Fine Arts to present Maya Oriana, thank you, from John Horn High School. She received a superior rating at the International Thespians Summer. Next up, we have Emily Acosta, also from John Horn High School. This is actually, let me back up and tell you what this is. So these students are, we're next going to introduce have scored a 3 or higher on multiple AP tests, meaning they earn college credit, 3 or higher on multiple AP tests, and or scored in the top 10% of the PSAT, earning national recognition from the College Board. So this is Emily Acosta of John Horn High School. She was recognized first generation in Hispanic and rural recognition programs. Abdul Salam Ali, African American Recognition Program. Jamie Alvarez, AP Scholar and Hispanic Recognition Program. Okay. Next up, we have Faith Apodaca, Rural and Small Town Recognition Program. Wait, our group is too big to take a group picture, so if you want to do that one. Okay. All these guys are from John Horn High School, by the way. And all still from John Horn High School, William Burris, AP Scholar and Rural Recognition Program. Muhammad Kamara, African American, First Generation and Rural Recognition Programs. Okay. Okay, they're telling me I gotta slow down a little bit. Cameron Canty, still John Horn High School, AP Scholar, African American and Rural Recognition Program. Yeah. Gotta do. All right, Leonardo Chavez, AP Scholar with Distinction, First Generation Hispanic and Rural Recognition Programs. Dayanara de los Rios, AP Scholar, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Program. All right, next we have Dana Fernandez, AP Scholar with Honor, First Generation Hispanic and Rural Recognition Program. All right, next up we have Janice Garcia Valentin, AP Scholar with Distinction and First Generation Recognition Program. Next up, we have Kofi Deborah, African American and Rural Recognition Program. Still at John Horn High School, we have Jacob Huang, AP Scholar and Rural Recognition Program. Next up, Kimberly Ibarra, John Horn High School, AP Scholar with Distinction, First Generation Hispanic and Rural Recognition Program. Isaac Juarez, AP Scholar. Althea Laco, John Horn High School, AP Scholar. Henry Lee, AP Scholar with Distinction, First Generation and Rural Recognition Program. Brian McNeil, Rural and Small Town Recognition Program. Ethan Knuckles, Hispanic and Rural and Small Town Recognition Programs. Amosofe Alma Iyamu, that better? African American First Generation and Rural Recognition Program. Maya Oriana, AP Scholar with Honor, Hispanic and Rural Recognition Program. Sebastian Paredes, AP Scholar, First Generation, Hispanic and Rural Recognition Programs. Patricia Perez, Hispanic Recognition Program. Ian Perez Acosta, AP Scholar, African American and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Raul Reyes, AP Scholar with Honor and Rural and Small Town Recognition Program. Leilani Saldivar, AP Scholar with Distinction. Ray Solorzano, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Next up, we have Bareen Tazzy Song, African American and Rural Recognition Program. Aiden Washington, African American Recognition Program. Folks, those are all John Horn Jaguars. Next up, we have some outstanding scholars from Mesquite High School. Jacelyn Araguin, AP Scholar with Distinction and First Generation Recognition Program. Mike Borjas, AP Scholar. Cindy Cano, AP Scholar, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Noah Clifford, AP Scholar. Grace Dodd, AP Scholar and African American Recognition Program. Elijah George, AP Scholar with Honor. More Mesquite Skeeters. Peyton Harden, First Generation Recognition Program. Next we have Tiffany Johnson, African American Recognition Program. Adriana Torres, African American, First Generation, and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Samantha Wade, AP Scholar. Ariana Zamora, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Let's hear it for our Mesquite Skeeters. Next up, we have scholars from North Mesquite High School at Ziri Aceval, Hispanic Recognition Program. Another stallion, Marlene Arzola, AP Scholar with Honor, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Program. Kathy Avila, AP Scholar, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Program. Genesis Brasino, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. It's pretty. Yamilet Cantu, North Mesquite High School, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Antonio Charles, AP Scholar with Honor and First Generation Recognition Program. Nayeli Gaman, AP Scholar and Hispanic Recognition Program. Kiera Gomez, African American and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Montserrat Gomez Lopez, AP Scholar with Distinction. Another AP Scholar, Mark Angelo Gonzalez. Yeah. Esteban Giel, Hispanic Recognition Program. Ian Hernandez Perez, AP Scholar, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Daniel Lopez, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Santos Luna, AP Scholar, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Still on the north side, Savannah McQueen, African American Recognition Program. Marisol Nieto, AP Scholar with Distinction, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Eliza Pena, First Generation and Hispanic Recognition Programs. Jaden Ramirez, Hispanic Recognition Program. Christian Riviera, Hispanic Recognition Program. Cruz Trejo, AP Scholar with Distinction. And rounding out from North Mesquite High School, Alex Villeba, AP Scholar with Distinction and First Generation Recognition Program. Axel, I'm sorry, Axel. And folks, that is only 3 of our high schools, AP Scholars and College Board Recognition Programs. We had to split them up because there are so many, so we'll have the rest next month.
Thank you for your patience. We're going to move up. Board members are going to move up from personnel. We're going to move up in action item 1 under personnel to approve administrative term contracts for the Chief Communications Officer. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Who did the?
Greg.
Mr. Carbo, or was it Tia? We have a motion to approve the Chief Communications Officer contract, a motion by Mr. Everett, second by Ms. Collier. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Dr. Rivera?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Sabrina, could you approach the lectern while I read your bio? No, this one. That's for other duties, right? And so I'm excited to recommend and now so gracious that you hired Sabrina. I'm gonna read her bio, but this is just a short, it doesn't encapsulate what she does for our organization and what she's been doing for the last 4 years, but here we go. Serving in her 24th year in public education, Sabrina Smith began her career as a high school teacher and coach in Cedar Hill ISD. After 7 years in the classroom, she took on the role of instructional coordinator and manager of athletics department marketing before being named the district's first communications coordinator. She later spent 5 years as director in public relations in Community ISD before landing in Mesquite, where she has served as director and executive director of communications since 2020. Sabrina has earned a bachelor's degree in education from Oklahoma State University, a master's degree in sports administration from the University of Oklahoma, and a public communicator certification from Texas Christian University. And it's my honor to introduce our newest Chief Communication Officer, Sabrina Smith.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. And any parents in the audience, if I mispronounce names, I promise I'm going to get better. I'm just so honored to have this opportunity to continue to serve in this very special district. I have to pinch myself some days when I realize that my literal job is to shine a light on the excellence of our programs, our campuses, our staff, our leaders, our educators, and most importantly, our young people in Mesquite ISD. I just couldn't imagine doing anything else. I also can't imagine doing it with any other group of people than the brand gladiators of the communications department. Some of them are here this evening, mostly because they had to work, but Brenda stuck around. I really appreciate Brenda Gonzalez and the rest of our team. We really have the most talented communications team in the state, in the nation. How about that? I'd also like to thank my current and former colleagues for their friendship and endless encouragement. I have 2 former superintendents and countless board members who gave me opportunities to learn and grow. And no offense, Dr. Rivera, but I started my career with a wonderful female boss by the name of Gina Farmer, who taught me that leadership is really all about relationships. And my most recent boss was also a very wonderful woman named Laura Job, who took me under her wing and showed me how to be a better me. She also left some incredibly large shoes to fill. Lastly, to my mom and dad, my kids, my family, I see people do that all the time, and I said I would never do that. I wouldn't be here without their love and support. My oldest son, Adonis, is almost 30. He was in first grade when I started teaching and coaching. I always joke that he just grew up in the gym, running around like a wild man behind the bleachers, down the hallways. And by the time my daughter came around, Kyla, who's here tonight, I'd moved into administration, so she got to spend many, many nights sleeping under my office desk at late night board meetings and events, and I kid you not, she had a pillow pet and a blanket in my file cabinet drawer. But both my kids were raised around public education. My mom served 24 years on the school board in my hometown, and I really credit her with giving me the heart for education. She pushed me in to be a teacher, and I never looked back. I can't imagine doing anything else, telling any other stories, or advocating for anything better than the work that happens in this district, and I'm just extremely, extremely honored. I thank both my kids for the sacrifices they made that let Mom be here today. I hope I make them proud, and likewise, I hope to make all of you proud with the work we do and the stories we tell. Excellence always.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Sabrina. First and foremost, I want to thank all the parents that were here tonight and were patient enough to stay through all this. These kids are amazing, aren't they? It's because of you that they are amazing. Thank you for what you're doing. I also want to congratulate all of our Apple Corps winners, our Star Para, and everyone, all the kids that got awards for being here. With that, thank you again. You guys have a safe journey home. Enjoy going outside there to meet with the kiddos. We will now take a break for 10 minutes. Thank you.
Like you were ending the meeting. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I thought he was in.
Next item on the agenda is the audience portion. For anybody wishing to speak on any items on the agenda, Ms. Smith, do we have anybody? Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Are there any items the board members wish to pull separately to discuss and vote on separately?
Mr. President, I don't want to pull this item. I do want to make a comment on it.
Okay.
One of the items on the consent agenda is the delegate handbook. The end of this month, we have the TASB convention, and of course, the TASB is presenting all of the resolutions that we're looking at. The good news is we had about 152 resolutions in that committee. That's one of my committees. And we were able to designate some as supported, combine some others. So we're really presenting 51 resolutions to be adopted, 6 not to be adopted. And I wanted to mention that we have about 3 resolutions that top the rest, but one is talking about the cost of education index, which was taking out of the financial formula back by HB3 in 2019, the 86th session. And the idea was to really revamp it and bring it up to date, but what they did was just take it out. So we're asking that they look at it again and put that cost of index back in, because it's important to the formula, given that that has to do with geographic characteristics. And as we know, all the school districts have different characteristics in this state. This is a huge state. We have 1,025 school districts. And of course, there's gonna be a lot of differences. So we need that back in. The other thing is special ed funding. The laws have changed on special ed. IDEA is federal, but we have some issues in Texas. We get some funding in Texas, and we're asking for them to revisit that because costs have gone up on special ed. And the other one is restriction on bond elections and all. As you know, this resolution addresses the language used in these resolutions. And we had a Vader not too long ago, and we were restricted on the language we could use to tell our community. And that was very, very different from the old days when we could openly discuss these matters and tell them the whole story. Now we can't. And I think that's a mistake because we can't tell our community everything that's going on in these bond elections or issues like Vader. So those are the three main ones. Those are 7, number 11, and number 47. Besides that, we have some great resolutions going in the program. So I would encourage the board, you have a copy. Thank you, Ms. Samples.
Ms. Collier, you have any comments, since you're one of the delegates?
Well, that's you, me, and Eddie. One of the things is that each one of the different resolutions targets something specific, right? Some of it doesn't seem like it's relevant to us, but then it is when you think that it's a whole global state education, public education experience. And we can't let one district just fall off. Ready to sit and listen and engage and advocate for here, because that's the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that, I'd like to move that we approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Carbone and a second by Ms. Hornsby to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. We will now move on to reports of the superintendent. Board members referenced earlier that we're going to move up an item to the top. It's the report under business, the report on investment strategies. Mr. Scott McIntyre will make a report to the board. Mr. Prado?
President Sewer, board members, Dr. Rivera. Scott McIntyre, Managing Director from Hilltop Securities Asset Management, will present to you tonight. He will focus on investment strategies and how we invest our dollars, and also give you a economic outlook and current conditions as to how that impacts what we do.
Thank you, Governor. Hello, it's good to see all of you again. I was telling a couple of you folks that my first presentation in front of a school board in Texas was in front of Mesquite ISD 26 years ago, and a lot of these faces were there at that time. So thank you for that boost of nostalgia. And I'll also say that this is, I have been in front of so many school boards in the state. I've been to literally hundreds of meetings, and this district is exceptional. I think you probably already know that, but from an outside perspective, it's pretty exceptional. And I'm going to, let me just get started by saying that 3 years ago, when I was probably standing in front of you, we're in a zero interest rate environment, and the Fed was discussing whether or not we would go to a negative interest rate environment. And then inflation spiked, and the Fed was put in a position where they raised rates to the highest point that they had been in 20 plus years. And we're now to the point where inflation has retreated and the labor market is getting a little bit shaky. And the question is, we know when the Fed's going to start to lower rates. That's actually going to happen this month, next week, as a matter of fact. The question is how much they're going to do it, but the market has already priced itself for 250 basis points worth of rate cuts. So I guess all that means that as you roll forward, some of the interest income that you've been afforded the last couple of years will be lower, not because of something you've done or we've done, but because that's what the Fed is going to orchestrate. So anyway, without any further ado, the economy continues to hold up very, very well. Second quarter growth was 3%. The Fed has tried to slow growth so that they can slow demand, and in doing so, slow inflation, but the economy has really held up well. So we're looking at the fabled soft landing, kind of holding our breath on that, but you hope that you can lower inflation without sacrificing the economy. Inflation is retreating quickly. It doesn't really look like it here. The only thing I really want to point out is that blue line, which is contributing the majority of inflation at this point, is the service sector, specifically shelter costs, which have been really, really sticky. And if anybody thinks that maybe inflation stays high, that's probably one of the reasons. I just want to also say that we're not going to see deflation, so the idea that you're going to be spending 99 cents on eggs again is not going to happen unless we fall into a depression, which again is also not going to happen. But inflation appears to be under control. That affords the Fed the ability, the luxury to be able to start cutting, and also to focus on the labor market. And job postings are disappearing. So we went from a peak of about 12 million jobs in 2022 to 7.6 million job postings as of the most recent period. So the ratio of available jobs to job seekers has plunged from 2.1 to 1.1 to 1. So you could either consider that to be in better balance or getting to the point where jobs are quite a bit leaner, which is a concern of ours, and it's also a concern of the Fed, which is why they're going to lower interest rates and hopefully be able to stimulate the economy a little bit. The two-year Treasury note yield is falling from 4.75 at the beginning of this quarter, so at the beginning of your new fiscal year, down to 3.69 the other day, rapidly falling. So the idea of being able to capture some of those yields is the train essentially has left the station. The market gets way ahead of the Fed, and that's, in fact, we feel like the market may be well ahead of the Fed at this point. We don't feel like the Fed will be able to be that aggressive. Right now, there are 9 25 basis point rate cuts that are built into the market between now and July. And again, that seems pretty aggressive. When the Fed last met, they thought they would cut once this year. Now it looks like they're going to cut as many as 4 to 5 times this year, even as the year dwindles. So the outlook, a series of rate cuts will begin next week. GDP growth has slowed. Recession really doesn't look like it's in the cards, in my opinion, but I do think that things are going to get quite a bit slower. The annual inflation rate should approach the Fed's 2% target in early 2025, but don't inflect deflation, maybe with the exception of a few things, car prices. Insurance, I think, is going to continue to move higher. That has nothing to do with the Fed. It has nothing to do with demand. It has everything to do with all kinds of things that I promise not to go into. The federal budget problem is too big to ignore at this point, regardless of where you're sitting politically. Eventually, those cuts are going to have a negative effect on future GDP. This is really important, although it may just be trivial, but government support during the next recession or pandemic or crisis will not be as generous. We're just probably going to be in a position where we have to tighten our belts a little bit. Geopolitical uncertainty obviously is rising. That's a great big wild card. There is no good outcome for the 2024 election, and I'm not saying that, again, to be political. I just think that, you know, the country is in a difficult state right now. So what that all boils down to is that volatility is going to be a central theme. We're going to see a lot of movement up and forth in the economy and in interest rates. And we sort of need to brace for that. Now, it doesn't mean that your portfolio is going to suffer right now. And as always, you guys are invested in the safest types of securities. So primarily your securitized government investment pools, your federal agencies, and your U.S. Treasuries. Portfolio yield as of the end of your fiscal year was 5.23, which is much better than zero. Your duration is probably shorter than ideal because it means that your securities are going to mature and be reinvested at lower rates. But, you know, it is a fairly cyclical district, and you really can't tie up things for long term because you need the cash. The fiscal year income for the past fiscal year was $13.4 million, and without going back and looking, my guess is in 2021 it was probably less than a couple $100,000. So it's meaningful. If I had to guess going forward at the end of this next fiscal year, I would think that it probably gets cut by 25%. So you're probably still going to earn a pretty healthy amount. I don't think the Fed can cut too much ultimately. So I think that the days of you know, sub 2% pool rates are probably well behind us. I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail. You guys have a lot of detail in your packet, as much as to say, you know, that the yield the previous fiscal year was 5.16. This past fiscal year was 5.23. You are relatively short duration as you have been, and again, your income is what your income is. Very safe portfolio. You actually don't own any commercial paper at this point this year. It's been a conservative approach, primarily because you're earning so much in treasuries. There's no point in taking on credit risk at this point. So, and again, you have a packet with a lot more detail, but I wanted to leave some time for questions, if anybody has any questions.
Well, I appreciate the comment on the commercial paper. That was one question I was going to ask, is because we've always talked about the risk inherent in that type of investment. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Anything else, board members? Great report. Thanks, Scott.
Great. Well, thank you all.
Have a safe trip back.
We certainly appreciate it.
Board members, the next item under personnel is a report on resignations and new hires. Do you have any questions? If none, we'll move on from that. Next is under effectiveness reports. The first one is a report on food and nutrition. Mr. Prado? And Miss, let's see, who else? Lark? Stewart? I don't know, they got both names on here.
All right, I guess I can handle it.
Yeah, Mr.
All right. There you go. Good evening, President Seward, Dr. Rivera, and other board members. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Lark Stewart. I am the Director of Food and Nutrition Services. Before I get started on the effectiveness report, I wanted to thank my team for all their hard work in not only helping me put together this presentation, but for their dedication to making our program better every single day for our students. I'm so excited to share with you the substantial progress that we've been making in delivering high-quality, nutritious meals to students. FNS is currently operating the National School Lunch Program, the School Breakfast Program, the After School Snack Program, the Supper Program, the Fresh Fruits and Vegetable Program, and the Summer Program. These are all federally funded programs administered through the Texas Department of Agriculture. Mesquite ISD's breakfast and lunch program participation has shown a positive upward trend over the last few years. I'm particularly proud of our achievement of almost 71% participation for lunch, because this is significantly over the national average of 65% and the state average of 66%. This success comes from a continued effort to improve menu options for students, provide excellent customer service, and the implementation of the community eligibility provision. So that way, all students in MISD can eat for free. For breakfast and lunch combined, we served over 6.3 million meals to students in 23-24. In our other programs, we served over 89,000 meals, which include the after-school snack, supper, fresh fruit and vegetable program, and the summer program. The community eligibility program continues to be a huge success. CEP provides free meals to all students regardless of their income or eligibility status. This program removes the need for parents to apply for meal benefits and for FNS to process those applications. This allows us to focus on providing quality meals to our students instead of managing meal payments or debt collection. CEP also changes how adult meal pricing is calculated per the Texas Department of Agriculture. FNS has put a focus on using our commodity dollars more effectively at both breakfast and lunch. And as a result, the state calculator forces us to implement an increase for adult meal prices of 55 cents for breakfast and 20 cents for lunch during this school year. We anticipate this will impact around 60 to 65 adults who eat with us consistently. The FNS team consists of almost 390 employees when we're fully staffed. That's about 300 specialists, 53 managers, 5 managers in training, 6 area supervisors, and 25 office staff. FNS also operates the catering and concession team, and I know all of you know the catering team very well. They fulfill about 55 catering requests each month and play an important role in providing high-quality catering at an affordable price. Our concession team consists of about 65 part-time employees. Many of these employees also work in our kitchens during the day, and so we're thrilled to be able to offer them some additional hours in the evening to further support their families. FNS is completely self-funded. So that means that much like a restaurant, our funds depend on the quantity of meals that we serve to students. For each meal served to students, we are reimbursed by the Texas Department of Agriculture. In 23-24, FNS was able to retain almost $2.6 million and maintain a healthy fund balance. 2 years ago, in 22-23, the district began taking indirect costs. These are allowable funds that the district can absorb into the general fund to cover things like utilities and administrative overhead. Because we've been so successful in feeding over 70% of our students, this actually helps FNS prevent excess funds, and we're happy to support the district in this way. For 23-24, $1.96 million was transferred from FNS to the general fund. We're gonna get that number up too. All right, this graph shows our progress over the last 5 years. Each bar represents a percentage of MISD students eating with us over the past 5 years. And you can see breakfast participation in blue and lunch participation in green. So you can see that we've actually recovered from our pandemic numbers and have steadily had an increase in participation over the last 3 years. And actually, if you look back 6 and 7 years, you'd be able to see that we're surpassing our pre-pandemic numbers. This graph shows a total combined number of breakfast and lunch reimbursement, or you could also call that funding, over the last 5 years. You can see a big difference in the numbers from 2019 and 20, which was around $13 million, to last year, which was close to $25 million. In addition to all the great meal programs that we operate, I wanted to highlight a special project at Shaw Elementary. This is Lee Carver, a teacher at Shaw, and Sir Ryan, one of her students, and that's their 14-pound sweet potato. Ms. Carver maintained the school garden and educated her students about how food is grown, and they had such a large harvest this year that FNS actually partnered with the Mesquite High School culinary students to prepare the harvest and serve the students at Shaw from their own garden. The whole event was such a success that we were actually featured in TDA's newsletter, which is distributed statewide. In addition to all the fun projects like the Shaw Garden, FNS worked internally to make several improvements within 23-24, including cleaning up and improving our inventory management system, providing more inventory tools to our managers, improving the sack lunch operations for field trips, updating the food allergy forms to make them more user-friendly, and providing better food options for our students with allergies. One of the things I don't think that most people realize is that we actually plan our menus a full year in advance. So last school year, we worked diligently with students to get their feedback about our menu items. We had students taste test new options, and we chose their favorites to implement in the new menu this year. We also revamped over 140 recipes to make them easier to read, easier to understand, and easier to translate into Spanish, so that way our food quality can be our top priority. Other projects that we completed in 23-24 include a joint effort with the district to replace cafeteria tables for Agnew, McDonald, Wilkinson, Tosh, Floyd, and Smith, and we have lots more to come for this year. We provided tablets to our managers for easier inventory and paperwork completion. We added breakfast kiosks at our high schools. We revamped our hiring process to find quality candidates. We continue to improve our onboarding and new hire training academy. And we applied for and received a supply chain assistance grant for $1.4 million, and that's going to help us with our ongoing food costs and operational needs. Oh, wait, one more. Our vision for the future is simply to continue improving our menu with the highest quality food items possible. To bring this to fruition, we will need more staff training and development, continued improvement for inventory management, purchasing higher quality foods, having exceptional presentation and customer service, and a continued menu innovation. One of the ways that we're working towards this goal is to partner with the culinary students to help us create new student-inspired recipes that FNS can serve district-wide. And to wrap all of this up, I wanted to share that last year's efforts to innovate our menu have already paid off. This year, we purchased much higher quality menu items, specifically chicken with no filler, antibiotics, or water, crispy chicken tacos, pupusas, buffalo wings, and a new grilled 100% beef hamburger. We recently received feedback from students that the new menu items are, quote, tough, bomb, and lit, which if you didn't know, those are all good things. We also received feedback last week that our new wings are as good as Buffalo Wild Wings, so please come try them. Thank you so much for allowing me to give this presentation. Are there any questions?
Board members? Mr. Everett?
Lark, tell us a little bit more about the supper program and where those meals are served. And I think there were less than 2,000 meals that were served on the supper program, but I haven't heard that before.
Sure. So currently our only supper program last year was at Henry Elementary School. So we are looking to expand that this year. We already have interest from several schools, including Mesquite High School, Terry Middle School, and a few other elementaries that are kind of getting their toes in the water. It differs from our snack program in that we can offer a lot more food and hot food for our students. It's a full meal in the evening time. So we're really trying to promote that and push it because it's 100% free for all of our schools. And it's actually a win-win because we can offer our staff more hours in the evening. And so it's a win for our families, it's a win for our communities, a win for our schools. So we're trying to get out there and promote it as a bigger program because we know the community could really use it.
It's also a little surprising that, we have a large percentage of our students that are from poverty, but it's surprising that not more percentage participate in the free breakfast and free lunch program, even though we're up to 70% on lunch. It's surprising that we don't have 90% that participate in that.
So I know 90% is a very high percentage. I think there's maybe one district in the south side of Texas that actually hits those numbers for breakfast and lunch. And they have a unified program coming from the superintendent where it's breakfast in the classroom. And then I'm not sure any districts ever achieve 90% participation at the lunch, but like 75, 80% is considered like you get the gold standard. It's really hard to get higher than that.
Yeah, that's a figure that came into my mind, why don't more students take advantage of that? That's just personal curiosity.
For sure. Our feedback has just been that, timing, sometimes the cafeteria is not the coolest place. And I know Mr. Prado is trying to help us change that with, some beautification projects to make our cafeterias more welcoming and friendly.
Anything else? Great presentation. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next report is on the JROTC program. Colonel Sayano is going to come up, and he's got 2.5 minutes. No, I'm just kidding you. Dr. Morris said you had 9.5.
Well, good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Rivera, and school board members. I'm Colonel Steve Ciano, and I'd like to highlight a couple of things in the effectiveness report as we talk about the new face of JROTC. And here in Mesquite, we've embraced the constant change within the JROTC program, and we truly are becoming the new face of JROTC on a national level. I'd like to start with a look at our organization. You'll notice there's only one vacancy, and we're in the process of filling that. So this is the first time in over 3 years that we'll actually start a school year with 100% of our staff positions filled. The first thing I'd like to talk about is NOCTI, or the National Occupational Competency Testing Institute. NOCTI is an organization that we've currently been using in Mesquite ISD for several of our CTE certifications. Back in 2021, NOCTI reviewed the National JROTC curriculum, and now there is a JROTC Leadership and Employability Skills certification that our students can receive. This year will be the first year that Mesquite ISD JROTC students will have that opportunity. There's also 3 college credit hours associated with the successful completion of this program, and those hours are 2 hours in leadership fundamentals and 1 semester hour in career planning. Also, we have one of the 8 cybersecurity programs in the country, and also through NOCTI, our students will test for a cybersecurity certification. That certification also translates into 2 college credit hours that can be used either in cybersecurity, information technology, or computer information systems. This is a great opportunity for our students that within the JROTC program, there's an opportunity for as many as 5 college credit hours now. The next thing is the West Point Leadership, Ethics, and Diversity in STEM, or LEADS workshop. We've been working with West Point for a number of years, and we finally have the opportunity to participate in the LEADS program. This program will take place at UNT on the 8th of November. Mesquite ISD was allocated 40 slots in this program. 25 of those slots will go to our JROTC high school program. We were also given 15 slots for the middle school. So in order to share the wealth, we've coordinated with Dr. Gully and the Emerging Leaders Program and pushed those 15 slots to Dr. Gully and her program so that they can actually participate and take part in some of the goodness that our JROTC program gets to experience. The interesting thing about this program is it's going to be run where our students will participate in discussions as well as exercises dealing in ethics, values, and leadership. It's led by West Point cadets as well as cadets from the senior program at UNT and TCU. Our robotics program continues to thrive. This past year, we sent 9 teams to the VEX Robotics World Championship. And this year, 2 of our teams advanced to the elimination rounds, with Vanguard making it as far as the semifinal round. And were it not for a mishap, would have probably been in the finals. We continue to host the largest JROTC robotics competition in the region, and we are scheduled to do that again this year on the 14th of December. Last year, we received over $7,000 in grant equipment, and this year we're on track to receive another $5,000 in grant equipment to further our program. Last year was the first year that we actually, no pun intended, but piloted the drone program at both West Mesquite and Vanguard. Both schools actually advanced to the national championship, and so we're excited about that. And this year, all 6 of our high school programs will participate in the aerial drone competition. We have already received over $13,000 in drone equipment from the U.S. Army, so now each school has 4 drones, an aerial drone arena, as well as a game kit. Probably one of our crowning achievements this year was the successful execution of our JROTC STEM leadership program. And as you all recall, we received a grant for over $141,000 for this summer's program. We concentrated on STEM in the air, and as you kind of see from some of the pictures, our kids visited various different sites that I'll talk about here in a little bit detail, but our focus was trying to get our students to understand that, STEM is not a very scary thing, and we talked about we learned principles of flight, force vectors, proportional reasoning, as well as aspect ratio, things that probably would scare the average student, but once they got in and had hands-on, it was simply something that was extremely fun that they understood. We use a 3-phased approach. Now, we've often done the Cadet Leadership Challenge, the traditional JROTC events, such as drown proofing, rock climbing, zip lining, and the leadership reaction course. But the neat thing about that is every day the leadership changes and new students assume leadership roles within the program. The students are also facing challenges where it's extremely difficult to lead your peers, but they're finding those challenges each and every day and putting themselves in situations where they achieve something they didn't think was possible. Our STEM learning was expanded this year with the new curriculum from the grant program, and it allowed us the opportunity to be able to employ 5 Mesquite ISD teachers that we took along with us to A&M Commerce this summer. The neat thing for the teachers is they had a great environment where, as the lead teacher, they had 2 assistant instructors in JROTC instructors and a college student. And we also, one of the field trips that we took the kids on was to the Frontier Flight Museum, where the kids were able to reinforce what they'd learned during the camp and actually see aircraft and make changes to the designs that they were doing to their own aircraft. Probably the most interesting piece was the workforce development piece. And this is where we took the kids out into industry and allowed them to see how what they were studying actually applies and is used every day in our everyday lives, and also to introduce them to jobs, well-paying jobs within our community. We went to Southwest Airlines, and the kids had the opportunity to go through the maintenance to see planes that are being refitted. And at the same time, they had the opportunity to meet several blue-collar millionaires and understand that it's possible to earn a good living, whether it's a pathway through college, whether it's through a community college, or whether it's through certifications or apprenticeships. And they actually spelled that out for our kids. We also went to L3 Harris, which is a major defense contractor, and the kids had a unique opportunity to actually walk through one of the planes in the White House fleet, because L3 Harris has the contract for the refitting of all the White House planes. So they actually got to walk through the plane that's used for the Secretary of State, as well as look at modifications to Air Force One that were necessitated by things that happened on 9/11. So again, very unique, and those pathways were once again explained to our kids, everything from an engineer to someone that graduated from high school and joined an apprenticeship program. So that was extremely rewarding for our kids. And we have already begun for this upcoming year. Just last week, $38,000 worth of robots appeared in our warehouse, all again funded by the grant we received from the Department of Defense. And in keeping with our cultivating culture of service and work ethic, our students this year, and this is the highest it's been since I've been here, they amassed over 9,000 hours in service learning and over 10,000 hours in community service, for a total of over 20,000 hours of service to our community, our district. And at the minimum wage, they gave back over $146,000 to our community. But at the, I guess, more natural wage, they gave back over $242,000 to our community. Also, our kids, once again, did extremely well in amassing scholarships and money for college in this past year, earning over $2.74 million for their college education. So as we begin to move forward, the Mesquite ISD JROTC program continues to stand at the forefront. We are nationally recognized for a lot of our efforts, and I just thank you all for the opportunity to be able to lead this organization and get the great support that we've received from this school board. Subject to your questions, that concludes my brief.
Just want to say thank you for your service to MISD. We're going to miss you and wish you luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Colonel, the leadership you've demonstrated has been extremely invaluable. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
I love it that we're nationally known. I think that's awesome that we're on the forefront of what's happening with our military. Do we have a lot of kids doing that now? How's that going?
The state of Texas requires that every high school afford the opportunity for students to take the ASVAB. And so
Yeah.
we offer the ASVAB at the high schools. But it's one of those things, it's amazing how many students you'll find their senior year where that light bulb goes off and now they're ready, but they're not ready. And one of the great things about the JROTC program is if you've completed 3 or 4 years, we give a certificate, and that certificate allows you to enter any one of the services 1 to 2 ranks higher than anyone else straight out of high school going in. So there are distinct advantages, but I think there's a national trend where there are fewer and fewer folks that are actually qualified to join the military, and a lot of it has to do with changes in society.
Thank you, appreciate it.
For a parent whose kid is debating it, what would you tell them? Like a parent of a kid who's thinking about doing JROTC but hasn't stepped in, what would you tell them? What would they be looking forward to?
I would tell a parent whose kid is thinking about it, I guarantee you there is something for everyone in JROTC. Just several years ago, robotics didn't exist. Drones didn't exist. Archery didn't exist. And so there is a niche for everyone in JROTC. And the great thing about the program is we realize that we have very different students. And that's one of the advantages my instructors have is the fact that they've all served over 20 years in the military dealing with brand new soldiers right out of high school. And so there is that understanding that I tell the instructors, we meet the kids where they are, not wait for them to get to us. And so I think you'll find a great level of support, whatever it is that the student wants to do.
So trustees, Dr. Morris and I got an opportunity this summer to visit A&M Commerce while our kids were at camp. And Dr. Morris can corroborate the story. Every staff member from the camp and every person that we encounter was just astonished at the level of professionalism and the leadership that our kids exhibited. And we were just floored by all their projects, the way they explained them to us that day. It was an amazing Friday that we spent out there, and it's because of the leadership Colonel Ciano provides. His team, Colonel Burton was there as well, and they give our students an opportunity to experience that when they don't get those opportunities here. And I'm proud to support the JROTC program in this district because it provides, and the Colonel was talking about what do you say to your kids and what do you say to parents? The ROTC program is not about enrolling and enlisting or getting young people into the military. Yes, that's a byproduct of it. But the biggest thing is teaching leadership, how to be a person that contributes to their society, because as you can see, that is so much needed in our society today. Whether they enlist in the military or not, I really don't care. It's a plus as a military veteran myself. But if they leave with those basic leadership skills and able to lead themselves to be better human beings, it's a win and a great investment.
Thank you.
The next report is under instruction. It's the summer academic programs, including accelerated instruction report. Yay. Ms. Wells.
Good evening, Dr. Rivera and board members. I am here to present the summer programs. So what is summer learning? It is reinforcement, skill enhancement, learning continuity, and academic readiness. This provides extra time to review and strengthen understanding of key concepts from the school year. It allows our students to catch up. It maintains a learning routine for students through the summer break, and it prepares our students for the upcoming school year. Programs offered: original credit, credit recovery, recovery learning, enrichment programs, and transition programs. So let's take a look at our summer.
When the bell rang in May, the learning didn't stop for Mesquite ISD students. This summer, pre-K through 12th grade students had a variety of learning opportunities through 14 different programs that catered to the different interests and needs of our students. This year, we continued with recovering loss in learning with programs like Credit Recovery, providing extra support for students to complete House Bill 1416 hours. Original Credit, Summer PE, Camp Invention, and transition programs like The Deal and Fresh U were also offered. But it can't be done alone. Summer programs are a tremendous task that requires multiple departments working together to provide services to our students. From nurses to food service to transportation, we are all working diligently to ensure that our students' needs are met. By participating in Mesquite ISD's summer programs, students not only continue to learn, but also grow personally and academically, setting themselves up for success, both in the classroom and beyond. So one day, they can proudly proudly say that they are alumni of the Mesquite Independent School District. When the bell rang in
Want to hear it again? So as stated in the video, our summer program is a huge task. It takes multiple departments working together. As you can see, over 34,000 meals were served, 95 bus routes, numerous administrators, teachers, and staff, and numerous departments working together to serve over 4,000 students this summer. And now some learning recovery highlights. Our pre-K bilingual students received 120 plus hours of full instruction hosted this year at McKenzie and Ozinger Elementary. 256 students attended. Our bilingual 3rd through 5th graders learned through engaging, tailored activities. Students strengthened their language skills, built confidence in reading and writing, and explored new concepts in a supportive bilingual environment, bridging any gaps and setting them up for a successful school year. Our elementary RLA kinder students at the end of the program were able to name 6.5 more letters automatically than at the beginning of the program. Students were also able to express the sounds of nearly 3 more letters by the end of their 10 days. 3rd through 5th grade students who attended improved their reading fluency on average of 13 words per minute, which also meant that they were able to read, comprehend, and connect text more effectively. Elementary math students spent 3 hours each day across 5 days of instruction. The district scores on the pre and post tests grew at every grade level, with 4th grade math showing the most growth. Middle school RLA students spent 3 hours each day in intensive reading instruction that consisted of exploring reading skills lessons, iStation remediation, read-alouds, and quick writes. The district scores on the pre and post tests grew at every grade level, with 7th grade students showing the most growth. For middle school math, students demonstrated growth from pre-test to post-test across all 3 grade levels. A big focus was preparing 7th grade students for 8th grade by introducing them to the Desmos calculator. This focused effort led to 31% improvement in their performance. Middle school science emphasized the development of a strong foundation in essential biology concepts. There was a 23% growth in student performance from pre-test to post-test. And for social studies, students practiced social studies skills using U.S. history content. On average, each campus showed significant growth from pre- and post-test analysis. English 1 and 2, EOC acceleration curriculum, targeted high-leverage TEKS. This targeted approach led to Mesquite ISD outperforming the state on the English 1 EOC. Additionally, Mesquite ISD performed equivalent to the state, with 7% of our students at MEETS grade level. Students also performed comparably to the state on the English 2 EOC in both the approaches and MEETS grade levels. For Algebra 1, the curriculum was designed to address high-leverage TEKS. This targeted approach led to MISD outperforming the state by 19%. U.S. history, 68% of students met grade level expectations after the summer classes. And for biology, MISD outperformed the state by 15% in approaches on the June EOC exam. Credit recovery is an opportunity for our students to regain credit to complete requirements for promotion and graduation. Hosted on every high school campus, this allowed for over 2,000 credits to be awarded. Our traditional summer learning is offered courses for original credit to students who wanted to get ahead or to make room in their schedules for other courses during the school year. 377 original credits were earned. Now for our enrichment and transition programs. We had Camp Invention, which is a hands-on STEM summer camp program that builds long-term skills and traits like creative problem solving, collaboration, and confidence. We had 125 students attend. We also had student leaders, 1 middle school and 18 high school leaders. Summer PE offered students the opportunity to receive a full year of credit and allow them to fit other courses such as band and art into their schedule this school year, and there were 39 students in attendance. We also offer 2 transition programs, the Deal and Fresh You, for our middle school and high school campuses. 94 students attended the camps. Overall, our goal is to see our students graduate and ready for college, the workforce, or the military. This is a reality for our students due in part to the recovery learning opportunities MISD provides. Thank you for your opportunity for presenting to you tonight. Any questions?
Great report. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. And now we have Mr. Morris will come up and finish the report.
Emily, can you get the slides back up there for me? Regardless, Chapter 29 of the Texas Education Code says that we must provide accelerated instruction to any student that fails high school EOC exams. And so Keith previewed several of those things here, and I'm going to get to this slide. And she previewed some of this information, but you can see that just in the summer retest compared to the state of Texas, where we stand out in some areas that we're going to continue to work on. You can see English 1 better than the state, and we were the same in the meets. I was telling Dr. Morris over here that the fact that we had 7% of our summer retesters, so students that have failed the exam that achieved meets grade level, is pretty awesome. You can see English 2 is lagging. I've looked at previous summers. That's pretty consistent that we've struggled to compare to the state in our summer retest. Algebra 1, phenomenal, almost 20% better than the state's average. Same with biology and U.S. history right there. And so those are the results from the summer. As well, we always look at our 5-year graduation trends. You know, this is a lagging indicator. I did try to dig into our data to look and see what we might look like in our 2023 5-year graduation rate, and we're right at this 95%. We should be right around there in our next one as well, and you can see us compared to the state about 3 percentage points higher in our 5-year graduation trend. But at this time, Chapter 29 also says that we must conduct a public hearing about our summer programs.
We will now open the public hearing for the Accelerated Instruction Effectiveness Report. Is there anyone that wishes to speak? There being none, we will now close the public hearing and resume our regular meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next under instruction is a report from Replay Talk update from Ms. Paris.
Mr. Seward, Dr. Rivera, MISD trustees, first of all, I just want to say I love my job. Thank you so much for allowing me to do what I do. And I'm so excited to continue this work with Read, Play, Talk, and family and community engagement in our school district. Earlier this evening, you heard from 2 young ladies about Camp Excel. We were so pleased with how this first year went for this program. I joked all throughout the planning, although it wasn't really a joke. I didn't know if 7 kids were going to sign up for this program or 700. And we landed somewhere in the middle. Across the 2-week camp, we had almost 400 students attend Camp Excel with 51 classes that were offered. This camp was really designed out of a partnership with the district's CTE department as a soft introduction of CTE programs to elementary students, of opportunities that they could be exposed to in middle school and high school. Classes were proposed by and led by our very own Mesquite ISD teachers, and they were absolutely wonderful. We had a total blast those 2 weeks, and we're so grateful to Fraser Middle School for allowing us to take over their campus for those 2 weeks. The responses that we received from attendees, families, and staff were overwhelmingly positive. Even last week, I got an email randomly from a parent saying that her kid is still talking about Lego camp and can't wait for next year and already has ideas of what he wants to do. I did want to point out the second comment on here that I posted. We sent out a survey to staff. And so when I read that, the students always complained. I was like, oh no, but then I kept going. The students always complained that it was over too soon. And that's really how it felt. The days went by so quickly because kids were just engaged and having fun and they were learning. But we were just so pleased with the response that we got, not only from our staff and students, but from the parents that allowed their students to participate in Camp Excel this year. Through the Read, Play, Talk initiative, it is a priority for us to be connecting with families who have children who are not yet school-aged. A recent study that was done on our area identified that there are 11,000 children between the ages of 0 to 5 within the boundaries of Mesquite ISD, and it is our goal to connect with every single one of those families, ensure that they have access to books and resources, and affirm that Mesquite ISD wants to partner with them so that their child can be successful. And I want to share with you tonight a few ways that we are connecting with those families. The first is through Lena Start, and since we began offering the program in February of 2021, we have seen the tremendous benefit of families participating in this program. And so that is something that we will continue to offer in our campuses, and we'll continue to pursue growth for that program. When we expanded Lena Start onto our elementary campuses, that gave so many more families access to participate in the program. As you can see on your slide, we've had 357 families participate in the program since the spring of 21. Families are seeing tremendous benefit by reading more with their child per day, seeing increases in their child's language development, and the majority of our families say that the program has had an overwhelmingly positive impact on their families. Another benefit of Lena Start that I always like to mention is every family who participates in the program receives at least 8 books for their child. And so that's something we're very intentional about, is providing access to books for families as often as we can. We have 11 campuses that are offering Lena Start this fall, and there are actually 13 groups represented in these 11 campuses. Henry Elementary and Motley Elementary are offering the program in both English and Spanish. But we have, these campuses offer English and Spanish. They're offered on different days of the week. They're offered at different times of day because we really want to make an option available for every family that wants to participate. And I have to mention that this expansion would not be possible, and we would not have seen the success that we are seeing of Lena Start on campuses if it weren't for the incredible teachers and staff that run these programs. My staff, we provide support to those people, but it's teachers on the campus, it's librarians, it's paraprofessionals like Ms. Carzales that you met tonight. They are doing the work of recruiting families and engaging them and keeping them involved in the program. We are also offering Little Readers starting this fall, and this is a partnership with Mesquite's Library Services Department and also Teaching and Learning. Little Readers used to be known as baby book clubs, and those were only offered on a few of our campuses, but through this collaboration with Library Services, my department, and Teaching and Learning, we are able to offer this at every elementary campus, so they are hosting a Little Readers meeting once a month on their campus. Andrea Bailey and her team have worked to develop this incredible curriculum to support librarians, so they're not having to plan the actual Little Readers programming. She's packaged it so beautifully and handed it over to them so that they're able to implement it. But when families attend, they can expect engaging activities with their child, reading a story together, and then we've also included a parent education element within every Little Readers group. And another part is every family gets to leave with a book from Little Readers. So if the family attends every Little Readers session, that family will have an additional 10 books added to their home library. I wanted to share this with you. We have recently developed a partnership with Dallas Regional Medical Center to help deliver resources directly to families. As of August, every family who delivers a baby at Dallas Regional Medical Center will receive a baby book bag. And you know me, I'm always bringing props. So they're getting one of these, and you can see some of the pictures below of items that are in the bag, but there is a bilingual board book. There's a developmental milestone chart that tracks ages 0 to 3 for milestones that families can help the child be reaching during those times. In that milestone chart are call-outs to Mesquite ISD programs like join a Lena Stark group at a campus near you, find a little readers group at a campus near you. And Dallas Regional has so generously offered to fund over half of this project for this year. And another partner of ours, Child Care Group, is donating the board books for the bag. So we just have tremendous community partners that have similar missions and values that were more than willing to partner with us on this effort. So we are just thrilled to be doing this and getting resources in families' hands as early as possible to encourage them on the importance of reading, playing, and talking with their child every day, starting at birth, and what that does for the child's brain development. And I'll close this presentation with a reminder about our fall event that is coming up at the end of October. For this year's Read, Play, Talk Festival, we are excited to partner with the Mesquite Chamber of Commerce. They're helping us recruit vendors to participate at this event. And we believe that through this partnership, it will give us exposure to businesses that we have not been partnering with yet. And this will help us grow our community partnerships in Mesquite and in our community. You'll still see similar elements at this event. We're partnering with the district CTE program to showcase all of the incredible CTE programs that are offered in our district, asking kids, what do you want to be when you grow up, and show how Mesquite ISD can help them reach those goals. You'll still see bounce houses, still see the book fair, still see activities and games at every vendor space, but we are excited to bring the chamber alongside of us this year to help us with recruiting more businesses. If you'll remember, we've had weather issues in the past, and we've had to cancel last year's event and drastically pivot on the year before. So we're not going to make that mistake 3 times. So we have secured Poteet High School as a backup indoor location if weather is a problem again this year. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, or if you want to take a peek inside the baby book bag, I'm happy to pass that around, but you do have to give it back to me because I have to give this to a family that has a baby. So, yes.
Any comments, questions?
Thank you. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Great report.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're going to have the bounce house because Mr. Carville can't wait to get in there and start
I
jumping
know.
around.
That's the reason we keep bringing them back. Yeah. No. No. She wants to cook for everybody else. I know. It's funny, when it's time to make dinner, she's not interested in cooking. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Great job.
Yes, thank you.
Love what you're doing. Thank you.
Lindsay, your excitement is contagious. Thanks a lot.
I love what I do. So thank you very much.
Next under instruction is report on early literacy. Dr. Morris, bring in the team.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I just want to start by saying what a privilege it is to serve in my current role. I'm thankful every day for the trust that you all have placed in me to serve with the Teaching and Learning Department, which brings me to our presentation. Tonight, my team is going to provide you with an update on our district's commitment to early literacy. As you are aware, over the last several years, there's been a major shift in the way we teach children to read. Referred to as the science of teaching reading, current research recommends that we emphasize the building blocks and skills of reading in order to ultimately develop better reading comprehension. This is not just a change in curriculum. This is a huge mind shift and a change of practice. And it's been a really big ship to turn. We are excited to report that we are beginning to see the benefits of this change. The truth is, I am not an expert on literacy, but thankfully I am joined tonight by 2 ladies who are, our coordinators Andrea Bailey and Anaida Caicedo Padilla. They will be taking it from here.
Andrea? Awesome. So over the past few years, we've been working to align our program with the science of teaching reading. As you know, we talked about this last year. And one of the very first things that we did was that we trained all of our administrators and our teachers on the science through the Texas Reading Academies. Then we supplied all of our classrooms with the materials that they needed that were aligned to the science of teaching reading. And then last year, we knew that there were 4 really important instructional practices that we needed to add to what we were doing every day. The first is working on assessment, right? So we needed our teachers to assess students in a little bit of a different way, getting to this skill level, right? And when our teachers understand exactly which skills our students have gaps in, then they're able to more effectively provide small group instruction for our students at the table. So that was the next instructional practice that we worked on, was small group instruction. We changed our model from guided reading to a skill-based small group instruction model, and our teachers worked with our students to help them gain the skills that they needed and fill those gaps. The next piece that we really wanted to work on was progress monitoring. So we didn't want our students to start in August and then wait until January and then wait again until May before we knew how they were doing on gaining those skills, right? So in between our district assessment windows, what we did was we created a calendar so that our students could be regularly assessed on those little skills that they need to be able to read connected text. And finally, the last thing that we knew that was super important was making sure that our teachers and administrators were having regular data conversations so that they could collaborate and work together to ensure that our students were gaining the skills that they needed. I'm happy to report that we are going to continue all of these practices moving forward into this year. And the reason why is because our students grew. And you can see that at the end of the year, in our kindergarten classrooms in monolingual, we had a really awesome gain. About 70% of our students were able to decode or read words on grade level. And that's a really big accomplishment for them. In fact, over the previous year, we gave a similar assessment. Remember, I told you we changed the assessments, but we gave a similar assessment and we had a 27% gain. So we are making gains across year over year, and that's really a celebration for us. But of course, we don't want to stop at celebrations. We want to make sure that we acknowledge we have challenges as well. And so one of those challenges that we have is in the area of phonological awareness. So phonological awareness is the building block of learning how to read. Basically, phonological awareness is playing with sounds, and it's really important that our students have the opportunity to play with sounds. That sounds like taking the sounds apart in a word and putting those sounds back together. For example, our students might be asked to take the sounds in the word cat apart, and so they would go k, at. And then they might be asked to put those sounds back together and blend those sounds, and that would be cat. So our students are used to playing with sounds. The more they play with sounds, the easier it is for them when they start to add those sounds to print, okay? So phonological awareness, super important, right? So we have a challenge in that area, and one of the ways that we want to work on that this year is we want to make sure that we get the whole building involved, right? So we're tagging in the custodian, we're tagging in our PE teachers, and as our students exercise, we want to see them stretching out those sounds, d-og,
dog, right? So the more we can get our students at bats, those practices that they need, the more gains that they will make. And so we know that having everybody work on the team together is really going to help our students. All right, when we think about our first grade kids, we have 79% of our students who are able to read words on grade level at the end of the year. And that's awesome. But a challenge that we experienced is that through some of our classroom walks, we didn't see teachers using decodable texts as much at the small group table. And so first of all, I want to explain what a decodable text is. A decodable text is really important because what that is a piece of text that gives our students the opportunity to read words 70% of the time that are giving them at-bats with the phonics skill they just learned. So if they're working on short A, 70% of the words in the piece of text would be short A words. That allows them to apply the skill they just learned to reading connected text, which is really important. So we're going to be working on making sure that we have an increased use of decodable texts and to ensure that we are asking comprehension questions after our students read those decodable texts so that we can have a connection between decoding and comprehending those texts. When we move to second grade at the end of the year, we had 78% of our students who were able to read words on grade level, which is definitely a celebration. But a challenge for us is that we still have a gap between reading the words and spelling the words. It's about 20%. And that is definitely something for us to pay attention to, because as our students move from second grade into third grade, what are they asked to do? On STAR, they have to write an essay, right? And what we know about that essay is that it is mostly computer graded. So imagine if a student isn't able to spell well enough to get their message across. Spelling affects accountability, and spelling is just really important. It's an important life skill. We want our students to spell as accurately as possible, right? So spelling is definitely going to be a focus for us as we move into this year. And one of the things that I've had the privilege to do over the past couple of weeks and into the next few weeks, I'm going to be meeting, and I have been meeting with campus leadership teams, and we have been talking about where in their instructional program does that trend begin. And it's so interesting to see every campus has a little bit of a different thing going on. We've had some really fruitful conversations, and I'm telling you, I'm excited about what our campuses are coming up with to address this specific issue. And I know that we are going to see some gains at the end of the year in this area. I'm happy to pass it over to my colleague, Anaida.
Thank you, Mrs. Bailey. At this time, I would like to go over last school year's bilingual performance in grades kinder through second grade to gain insight into the strengths and areas for growth specific to this group of learners. For the first time last school year, we used M-Class Devils and M-Class Lectura as tools to assess foundational reading skills in English and Spanish. These assessments help us understand where our students are in terms of early biliteracy development, helping us identify where they excel and where they need more focused instruction. If we look at the graph, we can see that the composite scores for M-Class Lectura show that by the end of the 23-24 school year, 79% of our bilingual kindergarten students ended at or above benchmark. That means meeting or exceeding grade level expectations. Those are the bars color-coded in green and blue. Our data shows that many of our kinder students are performing well in their Spanish literacy. This is a strong indicator that they are developing their Spanish foundational skills that help bridge their understanding of English literacy concepts. Since the majority of our bilingual students' first language is Spanish, their progress in Spanish literacy is typically more advanced at this stage, while their English literacy development is emerging. As you can see in the green and blue bars of our graph, the M-Class DIBELS composite scores show that by the beginning of the 23-24 school year, only 9% of our bilingual kinder students were at or above benchmark. By the end of the school year, 31% of our students ended at or above benchmark. This is an increase of 22%. However, as expected, the data also highlights areas of concern for our kinder students. For example, 69% of our bilingual kinder students were below or well below the benchmark in their composite scores by the end of the school year last year. Those are the red and yellow bars. While the gap is present, it is important to note that the kindergartens made progress in both languages. Next slide shows the 23-24 school year M-Class Lectura data for first grade bilingual students. The green and blue bars for the end of the school year show that 66% of our first grade bilingual students are at or above benchmark levels, while on the other hand, 34% are well below or below benchmark levels at the same time of the year. This indicates a need for targeted interventions and continued support in early literacy instruction for that group of students. Our data for last year's M-Class DIBELS for first grade bilingual students shows that 55% met or exceeded benchmark levels by the end of the school year. Again, those are the green and blue bars. However, the red and yellow bars also highlight areas of concern, having 45% of students well below or below benchmark levels at the end of the school year. This gap is largely due to English being their second language and the natural process of acquiring literacy in two languages simultaneously. Last but not least is our second grade data. The M-Class Lectura graph shows that the composite scores for at and above levels for the end of the school year is at a combined 76%. This is a strong indicator that they are developing the foundational skills in Spanish needed for third grade reading success. While red and yellow bars indicate that by the end of the year, 24% of the students were at well below or below benchmark levels. As explained earlier and as expected, there is a difference in their English literacy scores. For example, 55% of the students met or exceeded benchmark levels, while 45% of the students ended the school year well below or below benchmark levels. As we move forward, we will continue implementing targeted interventions that support both English and Spanish literacy development. Additionally, we will continue to offer professional development opportunities for our teachers to help them better support students through tailored instruction that addresses the unique needs of emergent bilinguals.
So under Dr. Vroomland's leadership, our district created these early literacy beliefs. And over the past couple of years, one of the things that we've done is when we had a renewed focus on early literacy, we brought people from all across the district together to re-examine our early literacy beliefs. We talked about, are these the things that we still believe about early literacy? Do we need to make any revisions to these beliefs? Do we need to make sure that we've included aspects of the Mesquite Promise if they're not already there? And the group came together and made some revisions to our early literacy beliefs, and these are the things that we believe about early literacy in Mesquite ISD. Reading opens doors to all other learning and success in life.
All children have the ability to learn and thrive as readers and writers when given the opportunity to develop in their own unique ways.
Each student deserves reflective and highly committed teachers who are trained and supported in the application of the science of teaching reading.
Honoring the cultural and linguistic assets of all students allows them to feel like they are seen, heard, respected, and valued.
And finally, partnerships between educators, families, students, and our community are critical to our success. And we hope that you believe these things about early literacy as well. And here is how we are living those beliefs out each day.
When I first started teaching as a first grade teacher, the method that was used for teaching students how to read was guided reading. And guided reading was for a long time the only method known of how to teach students how to read. And for me, honestly, I felt like I knew little to no idea of how to make guided reading groups fluid when they weren't advancing levels. So now, with the change that we've been doing in Mesquite, is my small groups are designed around their instructional needs, and that works perfectly because it's making a connection between their learning and what we're practicing in the classroom. Through constant monitoring and assessing, I was able to track the growth of all of my students. All my students mastered their individual skills, which made them fluent readers and fearless writers. I've gained insight on how the way of a structured and systematic instruction was key to my students' success.
Well, I've noticed from my students that they've grown in both languages. That is something very important because we've been able to have the tools that we need to be able to see that growth in both English and in Spanish. So I know that at school, I mean, they know when it's English days and they know when it's Spanish days, and they're able to also at home being able to talk to their parents in both languages. I think that's been helping them with the biliteracy. Oh yes, like I remember that at the end of the year last year, I had a lot of students reach benchmark in English. And at the beginning of the year, I mean, they were a little bit lower. So I've noticed that there was a huge growth in that, especially when they were doing their benchmark at the end of the year. They actually understood that our vowels changed in Spanish, and I think that's helped a lot because we would be able to give them those tools for them to understand that.
When I first started teaching,
Thank you. And do you have any questions for us?
I just want to add that the first time I met Andrea Bailey was when I walked my youngest son into her kindergarten class at Park Elementary. And your passion for the littles was amazing then, and it's just gotten greater. And I thank all of you for what you do for the youngsters in our district.
Great report. Love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Keep it up. This is important work that you're doing, and we really appreciate it very much. It will impact our district going forward as, accountability, kids learning, all those things we want for all of our kids to learn. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, next on the agenda under business is the Mr. Prado Show. First item is an action item to adopt order setting the ad valorem tax rate to fund the 2024-2025 budget. Mr. Prado?
Good evening, President Seward, board members, Dr. Rivera. For consideration tonight, you have in front of you a resolution to set the tax rate to support, as you mentioned, our budget that we approved in June. Just a couple of reminders. We wait until now to submit a recommendation because we're waiting on final values to be reported to us, as well as if you all recall, the state actually tells us what the rate that we need to set our tax rate is at. And the maximum compressed tax rate that the state calculated for every district in Texas for us was 0.6169. For the maintenance and operations rate, when we add the 5 additional golden pennies that no action is required by taxpayers, 1 penny is required by the board, that would have made it added to the 6169. And then, of course, a year and a half ago or 2 years, our taxpayers supported the tax ratification election, which added 3 pennies, 3 golden pennies to our tax rate. So that is how we come up with the 0.6969 tax rate for the maintenance and operations that is being considered tonight. And then for our debt service rate will maintain at 0.40 for a total tax rate of 1.0969 for every $100 valuation. I do want to give you a quick history related to what 5-year history. The maintenance and operations tax rate has decreased from 0.9664 to what I earlier just said, 0.6969. That is a difference of 27 cents that have decreased in the last 5 years. And then for the INS tax rate in 2020, it was 0.48 for every $100 worth of valuation. It is currently at 40 cents. That's a decrease of 8 cents. So again, that is what you have in terms of the proposal. I do want to say that for the maintenance and operations tax rate in Dallas County, we are the second lowest district that has the lowest tax rate. That is next to Garland ISD. So again, that is just a small comparison for your consideration, and administration recommends that you approve the tax rate.
I would like to move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of $1.09690, which is effectively an 11.76% increase in the tax rate.
Second.
Ms. Hornby.
Board members, any discussion, questions? There being none, all those in favor of approving the motion?
Sir, can I say something?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Could you do me a favor?
Put your mic on.
Sorry. Do me a favor, sir, Mr. President, and explain why it says in our motion, because the governor says we have to say this motion. Please explain that to the public, sir.
Mr. Prado.
Certainly. So it is a recommended language that we all have to say. So effectively, what it's stating is that we will require a lower tax rate to maintain the operations of the previous year. So essentially, we're increasing that rate because of obviously everything that property values are taken into consideration and whatnot.
Because it's confusing.
Tell me about it.
It is.
But I do want to
Go
reiterate,
ahead.
you did mention that there has been a decrease of 26 cents in the past 6 years.
Past 5 years, that is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Next is a report on the 2024 annual financial report. Mr. Prado?
Yes, good evening. And for this report, I am going to bring our Executive Director of Finance, Ms. Kimberly Chappell. She will do the report tonight.
Okay, good afternoon, President Seward, Dr. Rivera, Board of Trustees. I will be reviewing the 2024 School First Annual Financial Management Report. Please note, the ratings provided in this report are based on fiscal year 22-23 data that was approved by the board at the November 9, 2023 meeting. As required by Texas Administrative Code, notice of this public hearing was posted in the Daily Commercial Record and on the Mesquite ISD's media distribution. Okay, School First is a financial accountability rating system that holds school districts accountable for the quality of their financial management practices. It was designed to encourage districts to manage their financial resources efficiently in order to provide maximum allocation possible for direct instructional purposes. For the 2022-2023 school year, the district was rated on 21 indicators. The first 4 indicators are critical indicators and must be met to receive a passing score. In addition, there are 8 ceiling indicators, which will be highlighted in blue. If not passed, automatically reduces the maximum points a district can receive. I will go through each indicator individually and provide the current year's response or rating and the prior year's results. Okay, so first, the critical indicators. Remember, the responses to these 4 questions must be yes to receive above an F on the entire report. So indicator 1, yes, the 2022-2023 annual financial report was submitted to the TEA by November 27, 2023. Number 2, yes, the district received an unmodified or clean opinion on the 2022-2023 audit. Number 3, yes, the district made all debt payments on time. Indicator 4A, yes, the district made timely payments to other governmental agencies, specifically the Internal Revenue Service, the Teacher Retirement System, and the Texas Workforce Commission for payroll withholding and payroll-related obligations. Indicator 4B was not applicable since we made all of our payments on time and we did not receive a warrant hold. Indicator 5, yes, total net position increased by net pension and OPEB liabilities and accreted interest on capital appreciation bonds total $537 million, which is greater than 0. So this indicator was passed. Indicator number 6, the average change in the general operating assigned and unassigned fund balance over the past 3 years was an increase of 12.29%. So there was no decrease and the indicator was passed. Indicator 7, the district's cash on hand at June 30th, 2023 was sufficient to cover 146 days of operation, which exceeded the 90 days required by the state. We earned the maximum of 10 points on this indicator. Indicator 8, current assets were more than 3 times current liabilities, so we earned the maximum of 10 points. Number 9, the general fund revenues exceeded general fund expenditures, so we earned the maximum of 10 points. Indicator number 10 was not evaluated, so we received 10 points on this indicator. Indicator number 11, the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets was less than 0.6 and is sufficient to support long-term solvency. We earned the maximum of 10 points. Indicator number 12 asks, what is the correlation between future debt requirements and the district's assessed property value? So to earn the maximum of 10 points on this indicator, the ratio must be less than or equal to 4. Our ratio for 2022-2023 was 5.8, so we earned 8 out of 10 points. Indicator 13, the district's administrative cost ratio was less than the state's threshold of 8.55%. So we earned the maximum of 10 points. Indicator 14, the student to staff ratio over the past 3 years declined 2.6%, which is less than a 15% decline, so we earned the maximum of 10 points on this indicator. Indicator 15 was not evaluated, so we received 5 points. Indicator 16, yes, the variance between the annual financial report and the PEIMS data submitted to TEA was less than 3% for all expenditure functions. So this indicator was passed. Indicator 17, yes, the 22-23 annual financial report was free of material weaknesses and internal controls over financial reporting and compliance. This indicator was passed. Indicator 18, the 22-23 annual financial report was free of material noncompliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, and federal funds, so we received the maximum of 10 points. Indicator 19, the district posted all required financial information on its website. We earned the maximum of 5 points. Indicator 20, yes, the administration and school board did discuss changes to local, state, and federal funding within 120 days before the adoption of the budget. This indicator was passed. And indicator 21 was a new indicator for this year. The district did not receive an adjusted repayment schedule for more than 1 year for an over-allocation of foundation school program funds because of financial hardship. So this indicator was passed. So for the 22nd year in a row, the district earned a superior achievement rating. We earned 98 out of a maximum of 100 points. The final part of this presentation will address the required disclosures for this financial management report. The most current superintendent's contract is available online, and the hyperlink is provided on the last page of this presentation. In addition, we must disclose a summary of expenditures made on behalf of and reimbursements made to the superintendent and board members. And lastly, the superintendent did not receive any outside compensation and/or fees for professional consulting and personal services. No gifts were received by executive officers nor board members, and no business transactions were executed between the district and board members. Thank you. And do you have any questions? Oh. Okay.
Thank you. Great report. Advocacy. Austin. Mr. Prado, you want me to go ahead and do it?
So now we have the opportunity for open hearing of the report.
All right. We will now go on to public hearing on the 2024 financial management report. Is there anybody here that wishes to speak on that report? There being none, we will now close the public hearing and resume our regular meeting. Mr. Prado, the next action item is to review and approve the investment policy CDA.
Yes, good evening again. In front of you for consideration is to approve the policy. Mr. Scott McIntyre gave you an absolutely phenomenal report as to what is happening and how we manage our investments. And we are not making any changes to the policy, so for your consideration is what you have in front of you.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Bingham? Second. Ms. Collier. I have a motion by Mr. Bingham and a second by Ms. Collier to approve the investment policy CDA. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prado. Next item is questions and reminders. Board members, before you have a copy of the tentative October agenda along with other activities and dates and times. But a couple of them I'd like to point out. Some of these you may need to let Mrs. Samples or Ms. Gonzalez know if you're going to plan to attend. But this Friday, we have our Team of 8 workshop from 2 to 5. We've actually compressed it from 4 hours to 3, so we're going to start on time and try to stay on task and get done at 5 so that we minimize everybody's time that day. So we look forward to seeing everybody there, and you should have a copy of the agenda in front of you or in the folder. All of you should have received an email from TASB regarding their advocacy survey. I'd like to see us get 100% participation by our board and superintendent. Those are due by the 17th. It's real short. It doesn't take very long to do it. Friday, September 20th, West Mesquite versus North Mesquite Memorial is the first responders game. We'd like to have everybody there if we can. And then Wednesday, September 25th is a Mesquite ISD Assembly at Memorial Stadium from 10 to 12. And Thursday, September 26th through Sunday, September 29th is the TASB Annual Conference in San Antonio. And our next board meeting is actually a week earlier. It's on October the 7th because fall break begins on October the 14th through the 18th. Has anybody got anything else to add as far as times and dates?
I just want to point out on the first report that Ms. Collier and I are the best bargains on the board.
There being no other items, no discussion, no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.